Our question is, how does parenting affect the child's freedom? Stand out here.
I'm Destiny.
I'm Will. And I'm Monet. Our poem was Point of View by Ishmael Reed. You can't really see it up here, but it's basically, I think it's about how the Indians and the pioneers and the people coming in from the UK and everywhere were like, they didn't agree on certain things, and how they were raised affected how their decisions were made.
Our question was, does parenting really affect the child? And we agreed and said, yes, it does. Over the past year, scientists and researchers have studied the development of child as they grow up under multiple conditions to see what happens in certain cases. And they also did tests how they deal with stress and major life situations, like for example, divorces or natural disasters, etc. When you read the document, you'll see they already linked to multiple cases and research articles regarding the topic just in the first paragraph.
How a parent really affects a child is through how the parent sets an example for the child and the events that the parent brings the child through. And depending on how the parent reacts to the event can affect how the child reacts to the event. And the child can manipulate what the parent does and bring it into their own little area as their way of coping with the event that happened.
So some children might be taught that God will take care of all their problems, so they might turn to religion in difficult times. This quote talks about how people use religion to cope.
How to cope with kids losing their parents. You can talk to them. A good way to help them cope with is to talk to them through a situation and to ask them questions.
Okay, here we have a chart that refers to earlier on in the slides and everything. The chart basically shows how the parent can affect the child and how the child's behavioral response. There are many options of how the child will behave. Can't really see it good up here, but yeah.
So, this is our solution, and it says while you can't control the events you and your child goes through, you can control the mood and examples your child sees throughout their life. And here's evidence that basically speaks.
Our counter argument is parents don't affect the child at all, and the child learns things on his or her own.
I said how a daughter copes with absent fathers. I said I agree that if a daughter grows up without a father, it will negatively affect their adulthood. In my article, I read that fathers provide their daughters with a masculine example. They teach their children about respect and boundaries and help put daughters at ease with men throughout their life. So if she didn't grow up with a proper example, she will have less insight and she'll be more likely to go for a man who will replicate the abandonment of her father. While I agree with that daughter needs a male role model, she will get a horrible husband that could beat her or something like that. Because she doesn't think that she could do better. Not having a father could also affect her self-esteem. But that's not the only way they cope. Some strip or prostitute, etc. The author eats to cope, and I believe that is another example of a way that you can deal. And my solution is a girl should have at least one male role model to show her how to do things like an uncle, brother, grandfather, or stepdad.
These are just our sources. They're all linked before this, so this
Okay.
is just an easier way to go through them all.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I just have a couple questions. All right, Lowell, what was the biggest challenge that your group overcame?
A challenge we overcame in the beginning was how like we wasn't really communicating, and like we go home and people weren't like on the same page. So to overcome that, we made a group chat on iMessage, and now we're like all like one message.
Okay, good. And then, let's see, who am I gonna ask? Destiny. If you had more time, what would be something else that you would include in your presentation?
Probably another example to show the different perspectives of what might happen when they grow up.
Okay, all right, thank you.